Hi folks, Ben here at Lancasters. Today I'm going to talk you through the 3 most common mistakes that private or let-only landlords make that we see here quite often. So without further ado, number 1, legislation. It's a really boring subject, I know, but it is super important. I'm reliably informed by my lettings team, there are 147 different pieces of legislation in our country which covers residential lettings. You have to comply with all of them. It is a massive subject and it is really, really important. As I say, I know it's not sexy, I know it's not interesting, but believe me, the repercussions of not doing that properly are massive. When you hear horror stories of your friends down the pub who couldn't get a tenant out for months on end, it's because they didn't get this right at the start. The penalties for getting it wrong are now huge. The amount of landlords that I meet who think that they'll just bimble on, and if they get something wrong they'll get a warning the first time or a little slap on the wrist. That warning for the first offence on many things is accompanied by a £1,000 fine. Well, quite often some things is a £5,000 fine, some things is a 6-month prison sentence. Believe me, the days of bimbling your way through and just apologising if you get it wrong are long gone. Tenants quite rightly have an awful lot of rights, and if you breach those in any way they will come down on you like a ton of bricks. So do it right, get it right at the start and you're absolutely watertight. Get it wrong and you'll pay for it forever. It's you really wish you'd done it. Okay, number 2, property visits. Now it's amazing how often we speak to landlords who have a tenant in their property and have then got a problem of whatever description, and we go, great, when was the last time you saw your property? Oh well, they're okay, they look after it, I've not really been there for years sometimes. And property visits are absolutely an essential part of looking after a property and looking after a tenancy and looking after a tenant. They are not designed to, I think some landlords have this vision in their head that turning up and checking on them is a negative for the tenant. They're not at all. It's an opportunity, it's a two-way street. It's an opportunity for landlords to check their property is okay, and for tenants to report any issues that they've got. It's a reciprocal thing. Framed in the right way, it's a really important thing, and actually tenants welcome it. So regular property visits to make sure that your property is okay, your tenant's okay, everything's being used and working as it should. You don't want a tenant going, oh, I won't tell them about this leak because I don't want to bother them. You want to know as a landlord, so why are you not going around and checking on it and giving the tenant an opportunity to tell you those things? Make that easier. Believe me, we once heard a story of a landlady knocking on the door to check on her tenant after a year or so, and somebody opening the door who she'd never met before, and they were apparently living there now. You hear all these sort of horror stories from people who don't check on stuff. So keep those up. And number 3, I could go on forever, but these are the top 3, rent reviews. Now, when your tenant went into the property, no doubt they were paying the market rate of rent. That goes up over time. Are you keeping pace with the market? Rent reviews are good on both sides of the agreement. For a landlord, they're obvious. You bought this as an investment, it needs to be paying you a return. If you're not getting the market rate, then you are losing out. From a tenant's point of view, they're a good thing to keep pace with the market. There is no point you paying £600 a month for a house which should really be £1,000 a month, because when you come to move you'll feel like a prisoner because you've not kept pace with the market and you don't know what's fair and what is the going rate. So in almost every situation that we come across with a landlord that's had a tenant in the property for more than 3 years, they are paying probably at least 10% less than they should be in those properties, which is fine. I am the first to say that if you've got a great tenant looking after a property really well, who's really happy, then don't rock the boat too much. Make sure that any rent increase is fair all the way through. Completely agree with all of that. But it gets to a point where, if it's £100 a month, that's £1,200 a year you're giving that tenant. Do you like your tenant that much? You'd give them a Christmas card with £1,200 in it. If you do, then great, carry on. But just make sure it's a conscious decision. Even if all you do is tell the tenant what their rent should be and that you are allowing them to have it at this lower rate. So there's there's an awareness and transparency on both sides. Okay, bit of a whistle stop tour, but there you go, there's the top 3. If you're interested on the next 3 to 10, give me a call and I'll talk you through them as well. Cheers.